upgrade that we'll talk about going into next year's budget, so we can reallocate these dollars also towards public safety. That would be a decision that council will make, but I think that, you know, there's been some talk about, you know, the increase of taxes to accommodate the new EMS facility, and we all, I hope, recognize that unless we've got a sound and modern 911 system, that is also pivotal to making sure that our police, fire, and EMS personnel are dispatched in a timely and accurate way, so they can do the good work that they do when they get there. So we would recommend the administration moving the $750,000 that would be available if we implemented the STEFCO Dewberry plan over to the 911 upgrade. In other words, also reinvesting those dollars back into public safety. So, you know, like I said, at this point, I'll conclude our presentation, and there's a lot of data to cover here, and I appreciate the time that you, Mr. Chairman, and the council committee have given us to review the proposal.
And I thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, and the administration. I believe five committee and colleagues here have had a chance to meet with the mayor and the administration on this, and so I would ask them to hold, if they may, hold their questions and comments and move to public comment at this point in time, if I may. And again, I mean, everyone's been patient for an hour and 5 minutes. It's a good presentation. It was very helpful to understand, and again, appreciate it very much. So on the public safety comment from the public, I do have a list of signees that I'd like to go through first and have them speak. Again, it's 5 minutes. You'll be on the clock, and name and address. I will go around the room and ask people if they want to speak after we get through the people who have signed up. I'll start with Mr. Jim Schlenner.
Thank you. James Schlenner, 617 2nd Avenue, City of Bethlehem. I heard over 40 minutes of negotiating against firefighters for a contract that expired over nine months ago. It's my understanding that this meeting was to discuss the closing of the Dewberry Fire Station. That's why I'm here. I'm here to urge you to do the right thing for the citizens, for the residents of Bethlehem. Protect their safety and their property. Keep Dewberry Station open, and open as a fire station. There's two maps over here, and you heard a lot of numbers and graphs and smoke and mirrors. I just want to talk about common sense. In 1965, that's when the station was built. The station isn't 30 years old, it's 46 years old. On this graph over here, this map is from 1965. The black dot on both maps indicates where the Dewberry Station is right now. The bottom red line is Dewberry Avenue, the red line to the left is Center Street, the red line to the right is Linden Street. All that area inside that red line is where Engine 7, which is based at the Dewberry Station, that's all their first due response. They also have other first due response areas down in this area too. So that's not only, but I want to focus on that area. Because in 1965, when that station was built and opened, I should say, this whole area, you can see, was all cornfield. Let's move over to the map to the right of it, 2010. All this area up here, I mean, we're talking from Barnesdale, Makeda, Johnstown Drive, Altoona Road, Santee Mill Road, Berry's Bridge Road. All this area was cornfield in '65 when that station was put in place. Are you telling me that station was there for 46 years for no good reason? In that area that I just talked about is one of the highest taxed areas in the city. Some of the newest, largest, most expensive homes are there. And we want to put that station where they're first due out of service, along with the engine and the truck that's in there. Two firefighters on Engine 7, one firefighter on Truck 3, and the officer on Truck 3. You will be losing. The Bethlehem Fire Department does more than put out fires. We do EMS. We do water rescue, which we've been doing a lot of lately, unfortunately. We do hazmat calls. We do bomb threats. We have a hazmat team, we have a bomb team. We have a water rescue team, like I said. We go to vehicle accidents. We go to any emergency that you can think of, the fire department is called on. So we just don't do fire. We've actually been doing a lot of pumping out of flooding basements, which I don't know if a lot of people know that, but we do that too. So we're a jack of all trades. So I'm here to ask you to think about these two maps, think about the growth that's been going on in this city. We shouldn't be saying add an EMS and take away a fire. We should be adding both. We should be doing what's right for the citizens. Your taxes were raised to build an EMS building and provide a new fire truck, not to close your station. So in closing, I want to ask you again, please do what's right for the citizens of Bethlehem. Protect their safety, protect their property, and keep the Dewberry Fire Station open as a fire station, and build the EMS building, which everybody wanted up till a couple of months ago. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Salzer.
Dave Salzer, 1731 Cyersville Road, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. I'm the president of the Bethlehem Firefighters Local 735. I too was here under the impression we were talking about the closure of Company 7, and I wasn't prepared to negotiate here in public or dispute any of these inflated numbers that we were just shown. I'm here to talk a little bit about what was put in the paper. You know, when I read that article, I felt it was absurd. I felt unsafe, scared, betrayed, is how I felt reading the article in the Express Times. And I'm here to speak out also against the closure of Dewberry Firehouse and the reduction of firefighters by the mayor. Your taxes were increased to build an EMS station, not close a fire station or make a new 911 center. In the article, Mayor Callahan said that reducing a station would not affect response times, and that only a small, non-densely area of the city would be affected. See that on the map over there. I disagree, as I assume many of you would too, especially those less fortunate that live in that non-densely populated area around Berry's Bridge Road. And this is the area that'll be affected the most. Comments were also made that you will need an ambulance sometime in your life. Well, you may need a fire truck sometime in your life too. You know that just because there's an ambulance station there, it doesn't mean there's always an ambulance, and you heard that coming from the chief of the ambulance department. There's 3 ambulances during the day and 2 at night. 50% of the time they're coming from somewhere other than the station, coming further away, and the fire truck that would have been in that station that would have responded to your emergency is now closed. This means longer response times and less care. Closing this station also eliminates 2 more pieces of equipment from the top of the department, on top of the 2 that this fire commissioner has already eliminated. The mayor also said that response times wouldn't change because Broad Street, Caddy Road, Easton Avenue would respond to cover the area. You ever try to drive across the city from Easton Avenue to Caddy Road or vice versa? 4 minutes recommended response time to get to the scene. Do you think we could do it in 4 minutes? What if the trucks are on another call and now the next due truck is coming? No one thinks about the repercussions. It looks good on paper, it sounds good on paper. That's 4 minutes, ideal conditions. Coming from the station, no traffic, 35 miles an hour. That's what that map shows you right there. Let's try something. I want everybody here. You all know about how fire spreads and how quickly it can be. One breath can be deadly. Why doesn't everybody take a deep breath and hold it while I continue to talk? When you can't breathe anymore, raise your hand. 2 minutes, that's what you'll be doing it for. The safety hazard is also to us, the firefighters, because we have to wait for the next truck to come from Broad Street, Caddy, or Easton. That truck brings the extra manning and the water supply. That means it hooks to the hydrant and gives us water to fight the fire. Without this equipment or the manpower, the fire is going to burn faster, hotter, cause more damage, which in turn will affect the tax base and the insurance ratings, cause more injuries to civilians and firefighters. How you guys doing holding your breath? It's tough, right? I've only been doing it a couple seconds here. Now imagine that you got to do that for 6, 8, or 10 minutes while waiting for that next truck to come from across the city. I also urge you to fight, stand strong, don't let them close this fire station. It's a ridiculous idea. We need the firefighters for our safety and yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Sean O'Hare.
Hi, Sean O'Hearn, 1660 Cloverleaf Street, City of Bethlehem. City firefighter and also on the City Safety Committee. I tell you what, listening to a lot of this stuff, it seems the only thing this is about is the fact that the tax money that was for the EMS station is gone. I mean, that's the only thing. It looks to me like the city is scrambling to try to plan B or plan C this. You know, the city of Bethlehem raised taxes to build a new EMS facility, but now is considering not keeping their promise to the taxpayers. The proposed closing of the fire station on Newberry Avenue and renovation into an EMS facility is not in the best interest of for public safety, not to mention firefighter safety. It's also poor financial planning, spending excessive amounts of money on a building that's approaching 50 years. Jimmy's right, it's 46 plus. Company 7 has protected the northeast and north central parts of the city for all this time. If we lose this station, response times will increase not just in that part of the city, but throughout the city as a whole. Engines from other areas of the city will end up covering Company 7's district, leaving coverage in their district unavailable. A negative domino effect that at best doubles or even triples what normally would take 2 to 3 minutes. We got good response time in the city right now because we have 5 stations. First responders relied on a tried and true concept of the quicker we get there, the better chance we have at saving lives. That's the name of the game. EMS does it, fire does it, police does it. There needs to be one more thing made clear here. If we lose Company 7, we lose Engine 7 and Truck 3. They're gone. Company 5 doesn't have room for these pieces. I have not seen a plan to put Engine 7 and Truck 3 at Company 5. I'm an Engine 5 operator. I'm stationed at Engine 5 on Easton Avenue, the Lincoln. There's nowhere for it to go. You know, we're talking about saving money by taking the fire station, which in the long run is going to cost a lot more money when you have to renovate all 4 stations and eventually probably have to deal with EMS down the road anyway. If anybody's telling you different, I don't think they're telling you the truth. The firefighters of Bethlehem need this station and its equipment to best serve the residents of Bethlehem. This is a short-term fix to a long-term problem. It's not the best, what's best for the city. Another thing I was thinking, listening to some of what the mayor was talking about, and the EMS director and Parks and Public Property. It seems to me that we need STEFCO, we need Rescue 2. It's located in a prime area of the city, tremendous amount of call volume, and why don't we like downgrade this or make a smaller satellite EMS station out at Ilex Mill Road? We have the land, you know, we have a budget set up. Just bring down the building to meet the cost. It seems like a sensible thing to do under the circumstances instead of going backwards. The only thing I want to say about call volume is when I got on this department, we weren't even doing 2,000 calls. We're fast approaching 5,000 fire calls in the city. Last year we had 157 structure fires, and that's going by the big picture. And what I mean by that is, when you take the data from 20 years ago, we had 167 fires last year, not 57 according to the fire commissioner. And the simple fact of the matter is we're still running the same amount of structure fire calls as we have 20 years ago. And the thing a lot of people forget is we're also running with less manpower than we had 20 years ago, and we're running with less equipment. We don't have Engine 11 on the west side anymore. That was taken out of commission just approximately about 5 years ago. So the idea that you're going to lose another engine, Engine 7, and a truck, and continue to serve the entire city, just doesn't make any sense. No sense whatsoever. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to take a liberty here. The comment was made about the tax money. I was in City Hall today, and the tax money is in a special account, as has been noted by ordinance, and our city clerk does have access to that account, not the money, but viewing the account, but I can assure you the money was in the account today. So there is tax money there set aside. Okay. Jennifer Henry.
Thank you for allowing me to speak to you this evening, and I apologize for my demeanor. I'm quite exhausted after some things that went on somewhere around 2100 Main Street. I learned this evening that I'm number 17. I was the call, I was the fire that occurred not a few days ago, but just yesterday. And while yes, it was a structural fire and it was out before, while no one was home, we certainly have thought through the what ifs. What if we were home? And right by my bed, I was going to scan them in, but I couldn't resist. I couldn't put them in the box. I have my two sons sleeping here approximately 4 feet from the spot where the fire ignited, and to our understanding as of this moment, caused damage to not so much that we know of to the structure of our home, but to all of our possessions. And we're at a complete loss there. We will not be able to return for approximately 2 or 3 months to live in our home. So while my son, who both of them are patiently waiting here, and I'm raising them to be fine young men, to understand that when we have been helped by somebody, we offer help to other people by just simply sitting through a meeting that for them was very boring at a time when we're in a crisis in our family. I want to thank the mayor for all your work sincerely in gathering your statistics. I know nothing of inflation of them. I know nothing of smoke and mirrors or deception. I know nothing of the politics. However, you may be familiar that I am a public employee in the district, the school district, so I do understand politics. Just, you can't, you know. Look, and here's the other picture I have, covered with soot. Thank God I still have it, but it's the one of my son wearing his firefighter costume. And God, he was so freaking proud wearing this. This was a moment I couldn't take my eyes off him. All right, so our family, we support you. We've given, we've donated privately through your I'm sorry, over the phone calls, you know, you're doing your fundraisers. We've made donations over the years. And we just want to give back by standing here and saying, maybe I'm number 17, but I'd like to put a human face on some of these things. Now, if the electrical fire that had occurred, that did create our structural fire, as it is deemed, if it had happened during the night while we were sleeping, and if we were home, I am certain that 36 seconds could have made a substantial difference to the outcome of our situation. And I did think about, and I held my breath when the kind gentleman asked me to, because I thought about that earlier today. If I was in that room with burning and my kids were in the room next door, I'm holding my breath for their lives, trying to get to them. I don't know if I could physically do it. And I had, you know, so was the Dewberry people, and my God, the support and the skill with which they handled not just the fire and assessing the situation and helping us with the process we're in with insurance, but also I needed some medical help to help me just get through the moment, and I say that without shame. And I know of several of the fires throughout the city that have occurred recently, and they're devastating. I saw them up and down Main Street and all around that area. So please take the human factor into consideration as you make your decision. Thank you so much.
Mrs. Henry, thank you for your bravery in showing up here tonight. We're sorry about your loss, all of us. Thank you.
Please excuse us.
Frank Kovacs?
Excuse me. My name's Frank Kovacs. I live at 2103 Main Street. That's down the intersection of Dewberry and Main. I'm down the bottom, Humpty Hollow, whatever you want to call it. I was a recipient of 3 911 calls in January, and the first responder was what you want to take away from me was the Dewberry Avenue fire engine, engine 7. The first call was answered by Bethlehem Township, which reciprocated. I know, sir, what it's like to hold your breath, only mine wasn't voluntary. I'm here in support of the Dewberry Avenue station to remain. This was funded, the money's aside for it. I don't see why you have to sacrifice the safety of that quadrant or that section of town. Plus we have some historic areas in that area, one of which I'm involved with and Ms. Dolan is very involved with, and that's the Ellis Mill. The response time, the increased response time would be devastating not only to the Ellis Mill, it would be devastating to a structure like mine and or my neighbors. I'm a little emotional with Jen's presentation. I live right there, and I can understand how she feels. So if you got the money, you set it aside, use it. Thank you. The other quick thing I want to ask Mr. Smith is, you and the mayor, you put up a scenario there where if you would split Dewberry, put the EMS at Dewberry, and then also at Stefco, that would almost be an ideal situation. Why can't you then keep the facility at Stefco, modernize it, and put a smaller facility at Ellis Mill, and in time you have the room and we have the engineering know-how, you can expand the building as you need it. You don't have to look for anything more. To me, and you keep Dewberry as a fire station. To me, that seems like a pretty good solution. Thank you.
Thank you. Please. Thank you. Robert Simon, please.
Robert Simons, 4016 Oakland Road, Bethlehem. On the evening of July 21st, 2010, all Bethlehem Fire Department apparatus were available at their assigned stations. At 8:25 p.m., Engine 5 and Engine 7 were dispatched to a structure fire at 1511 Jill Street. From the initial dispatch, Engine 5 arrived in 2 minutes and 35 seconds. Engine 7 from the Dewberry station arrived in 4 minutes and 7 seconds. Engine 5 was the attack engine. Engine 7 was used for water supply. They would hook up to the fire hydrant, give Engine 5, the attack engine, water from the hydrant. Each engine carries 500 gallons of water. One hand line, we pump approximately 100 gallons a minute. And in 5 minutes, that's all we have of water on that engine before we need that line laid from that hydrant and hooked up. Also responding in that call were Engine 6 from Broad Street. They got there in a time of 7 minutes and 40 seconds. And Engine 9 from Catasauqua Road, they got there in a time of 10 minutes and 41 seconds from the initial dispatch. If Engine 7 on Dewberry Avenue was placed out of service, Engine 6 or 9 would be the backup engine, Engine 5. By doing simple math, you can easily see we're going to run out of water. This will surely cause more loss of property or even worse, loss of life, guaranteed. Please keep Company 7 and Engine 7 open and in service on Dewberry Avenue. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Culp.
Darrell Culp, 1101 Wood Street. 20-year veteran, Bethlehem Fire Department. Just reached my 20 years this month. I'd like to make a couple quick comments on some of what the mayor had on with his PowerPoint. First of all, we know we get money coming from the casino that was supposed to go towards infrastructure. Years back, both the mayor and previous councilmen have contacted me inquiring about adding additional firemen police, EMS, to the rolls when that happened. Kind of wondering whatever happened to that. Your primary function, obviously, is to see that city services are provided. Well, we're asking you, please continue to provide the basic city services. The $500,000 that was needed for repairs to these buildings, that was repairs that were needed for the past 20 years of these buildings. It wasn't like a give me, like, here you go, thank you. No, they were needed for that long amount of time. And as far as the smoke ejectors that were put into the exhaust from the fire engines, comment was made, well, it took 25 years to get it. Well, if you're so concerned of our safety, why did it take 25 years to get here? Just curious. They also showed points about the increase in our tag, which obviously this is contractual, but since the door was open, I'm going to answer it. Those percentages were proposed by that administration, not the local, not as firemen. Those numbers came from them. So now they're being thrown back on us and making us work for it. Just wanted to throw that out there. As far as the staffing part goes, it was done during negotiations where the additional increase to staffing per piece was, yes, A, because one man on the truck is definitely unsafe, but two, because we knew we were going to have increased responsibility on having a first responder, BLS engine, however you want to classify it, which we've been doing and saved a few lives. So it's a good thing. But now you want to take these men away from us and decrease what the mayor put out there years ago as a good thing that we're doing for the city to help people out. But now we want to take it away. So which is it? Which one do you want? Your call, right? There was also a comment made about response times and staffing. Well, staffing and response times are two different things. Two different things. One don't go hand in hand with the other. Our fires may be down, but the kind of fires we get didn't change in 100 years. Actually, they've gotten worse. They've gotten worse because the stuff that's in your house that burns hotter, burns faster, and burns more toxic, which means you still need the same amount of guys to do the same job. There's no difference. Time and manpower are two different things. I think that was somewhat misportrayed. A couple last little things. If you take a look at that map, if you can take that big circle where 7 is, and if you can take it down over to the southeastern part of the south side where all the future building is starting to go and your multi-billion-dollar corporations are coming in, I don't see any big red circle in there at all. Maybe that might be something to think about. I think the comment was made that there's 25 men per platoon, but I believe there's 26. There's a lot more I want to say, but it really goes more into contractual issues, and I don't want to do that. My bottom line is I've been doing this for a long time, and to get rid of people after we've worked so hard to bring our city not even into compliance with NFPA, but close. And I've worked with this administration, and we've gotten places that we've done it without using attorneys and spending lots of money in arbitration. Somewhere along the line, something went wrong. This is wrong. I support our EMS people, and I have for years. I've even stood at this podium saying they need better facilities. I don't know, Gordy was pretty much for it at that time. I don't know what happened. He seemed to backtrack now. Maybe he's getting political pressure. I don't know. But I see a lot of things going on here, and I smell a rat, and I don't like what I see. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Cole. Okay, that concludes of the people who signed up to speak. I'd like to maybe start on, I can't see everybody on this side, but maybe start on the left side here, and Dana Grubb.
Dana Grubb, 2420 Henderson Place. The mayor forgot to mention to you in Scranton that Scranton City Council is suing the mayor over those cuts. The fire commissioner indicated that the ISO rating is what sets the insurance rates. He's wrong. I've talked to ISO, I've talked to Erie Insurance Corporate. The ISO ratings are one of a number of factors used to calculate your premiums. We wouldn't be having this discussion if the $6 million budgeted last year to accomplish these projects hadn't been taken and misappropriated. Dollars and cents wouldn't matter because the capital funding was there. I've spoken with dozens of people who live in the primary response area. So far, the only two people I know who want to see this fire station closed are the mayor and a member of council. And let's not forget, and Darrell talked about it, the 20% of the city that the Bethlehem Fire Department didn't used to cover when Bethlehem Steel was in full operation. Now my planned comments. Who manages overtime and who